Hi, guys. In the next 40 minutes or so, we're going to talk about the astrology of the assassination attempt against Donald Trump and how the guardian angel, Asteroid Angel, protected him and why he was okay despite an attempt to end his life. We're going to briefly address what I've said in several videos. Please go look at my Venus and Leo video, my Uranus-Mars conjunction video, and many more that I have been talking about harm's way to Donald Trump, including the words shooter and assassination. So that's already behind us. What I'm amazed by is this morning I woke up and I said to my sister, this is now Sunday, July 14th, I said, Donald Trump must have a guardian angel because he survived it. And indeed, the asteroid angel was on his ascendant, along with Medusa for, yes, the decapitation. It hit his ear. So there is beautiful truth in the minor asteroids. I know a lot of modern astrologers don't listen to those. Asteroid Thomas, asteroid Icarus are playing a major role in what happened on that very day and how that applies to not just Donald Trump, but the United States of America. So I will be sharing these charts with you, but I'm also adding an all signs portion at the end of this video. And in my all signs portion, what I'll cover is how not to be afraid of the Mars Uranus conjunction, which is the last in a lifetime. The last time you and your life will live through Mars Uranus co-joining in Taurus, unless you're going to live another 84 years. And I want to share with you how to use this a bit more. I just am teaching a webinar later today, and maybe I'll add the replay to that webinar underneath this video so everyone can listen. But what I want to say is Mars represents change of mind, change of direction, decisions, actions. And Uranus is like a bolt of lightning from the heavens. It can be like the eureka. It can be the flash of insight. It can be the deep and sudden transformative knowing. It can be the awakening of the third eye. It has so many more layers than shock, awe, destruction, chaos, and disruption. I want to lean into the more positive elements of that today. So we're going to start off by talking about the day of the event. And I'm going to show you the sky for Butler, Pennsylvania. You wouldn't be surprised to find that this is going to be a Sagittarius rising 13-degree day in Butler, Pennsylvania at 6:02 p.m., which is now the reported time of the shooting. And the reason that matters is because the United States of America ascendant is at 12 degrees of Sagittarius using the Sibley chart from the Declaration of Independence signing in 1776. That's really an important factor. And that's because that means that, well, even though a potential candidate for the presidency is a subject of the event, it's also connected profoundly to the United States of America's founding itself. It is more than what it seems. And at the day and time of this shooting at 6:02 p.m. Eastern Daily Time in Butler, Pennsylvania, not only was the asteroid Icarus at 13 degrees, perfectly conjunct the ascendant, but Jupiter was on the descendant on the beautiful star Aldebaran. Yes, a star of war, but also a star of power. You know, Icarus means something that falls from the sky because it tried to reach for the sun. And indeed, it was Daedalus, was the father who invented these wings that were made of wax, and his son actually decided to try to fly with them, which is fine, but he got towards the heat of the sun and he fell from the sky. Now, the tale is about invention, yes, but it's also about hubris or pride or a misunderstanding about how high one can go. So I don't know how to interpret that in this sense, that perhaps it is also about Donald Trump. He's the one who was shot at, and, it happened. Well, Icarus was on the ascendant Sagittarius degree 13, which is the United States of America's ascendant degree. That's because at the time of the shooting, the latitudinal and longitudinal place of it happening, the constellation rising on the eastern horizon, should you be able to see through the sky to the dark of the heavens in tropical symbolic Western zodiac, was Sagittarius. I'd also note, before I show you the two charts we're about to show you, I'm going to show you the chart of the day, Donald Trump's chart underneath the chart of the day, and then I'm going to show you the cool angel asteroid on his ascendant that protected him, even while Medusa, off with her heads, also sat on his ascendant. He's born with the part of fortune for violence and physical harm, and also death. Those Arabic lots in very difficult places, including around his ascendant. He's always had assassination attempts. This is not his first. I thought I'd treat you to a little tidbit here. I know I've got weird lighting because I'm on vacation without a kit, so bear with me. I'm going to treat you to a little tip here, and that is that the asteroid for Angel is 1191. 11911. So it's 11, which is justice, right? Which is a word, Mott, who measures the feather of whether your soul is light enough to go to heaven. 11 is a very profound number in numerology as well as in the tarot, the justice card. But also, if you go 11 and then you go 911, right? You can call your angel 911. I need some help. This is looking bad. I think I'm hearing bullets whizzing by my head. And the angel says to Donald, turn your head a little bit. Look at someone in the audience, and it nicked his ear. I think that's what happened. Let me say, I'm not pro-Trump, nor am I pro-Biden. This is a whole dream. This is a matrix. This is like a bad simulation. We're all trying to wake up. I think the more we make the dream a nightmare, and I got caught in the nightmare during the Gaza bombing stories, and I could hardly keep myself away from sleepless nights of dread or anger at what was happening. The fact is that that's just going to bring us down. It's going to bring us into fear. It doesn't mean we don't make changes so bad things don't happen in the matrix, the dream. We can make it a happy dream, you know. You can wake up from the dream, and you can also wake up in the dream, and you can make the dream a happy dream, but it's not all real, guys. If you start to go down asteroids as a rabbit hole, you'll know what I mean. If you want to know more about asteroids, I will append to the top of the comments, and I'll put it also in the description box. I will put my amazing asteroids course free. It's free, and you can go through your own natal chart and find some of the amazing asteroids there. Asteroids for victory, for success, for leadership, for where your downfall might be, etc. All right, so let's get going. I'm going to show you the chart. I heard that dinging on my computer. People are signing up at the last minute for my Uranus Mars course. It's going to be taught an hour from now. So let me just pause the recording shortly. Yeah, pause the recording shortly. And the reason I'll pause the recording, well, the reason I was going to pause the recording is to turn off the dinging sound. But of all strange things, my setup on Zoom is completely different. Oh, that's so weird. It's just changed. Maybe I updated the software. Pause the recording. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm not sure I corrected that. So if I didn't, I apologize. So let's get back to the story. You might be hearing dinging of people signing up for my webinar that's happening in an hour from this recording. And I can't find where they're coming off from. I think I had to shut down apps, and I don't want to stop the recording. All right, so let's get going. So let's talk about the basic story. This is the sky troop shooting event. I called it July the 13th. Yesterday at 6:02 p.m., Butler, Pennsylvania. I'm pretty sure he was about to actually announce his running mate during that. I guess we'll find out today. This is 10:04 a.m. in the same Eastern Daily Time. I'm recording this on July 14th. It'll be out later today. First of all, number one, you can see in the sky at the time of this particular story, we have the ascendant in Butler, Pennsylvania at 13 degrees, and we have the asteroid Icarus for somebody falling from a height, from melting wings, of course, hitting the sun, which means leader, right? Or solar energy of power, divine mind, and more. Okay, that's not going to work. Not going to work. Let me maybe just turn the sound off on my computer. That could work. Yes, I could. All right, just do that. All right, that's done. And in my mind, in my view, my humble opinion, what this is it's really all about the kind of energy of fate and destiny, because ultimately we can see that there's something going on in the United States. This is Antares, also an archangel and a warrior star. Archangel Uriel is Antares, and Archangel Michael is the medieval star over here on Aldebaran. Aldebaran and Jupiter are looking at the ascendant from the house of others. All I can say is there's a lot of intense power in the heavens right now. And this is, again, not only is it the ascendant of the United States of America, but I will mention this briefly. President Joe Biden has his ascendant, I think, around 3 degrees of Sagittarius, but it is in Sagittarius. And of course, the one whose wings melt and falls from the sky can also be pertinent in general to him. Just because it's a timestamp of a contest between two leaders, potential leaders, there is some thoughts I have about that. Asteroid Icarus is trending through the sign of Sagittarius and has been doing that as we saw Joe Biden go into some kind of intensity around whether or not he would stay in the election, or it's still ongoing. So he's under Icarus energies, right? And finally, the last thing I want to say about the sky, because I'm going to move to Donald Trump relative to the sky before we look at the asteroid chart, I would mention this. that this is Sagittarius, which is a bow and an arrow. And it's interestingly also a projectile, right? Someone has to take aim and sharpshoot that arrow so that it will hit the dartboard or the bullseye or the deer or whatever, you know? So the bow and arrow archetype is not much different from a projectile weapon, whether it's a missile or a rifle. And so it's kind of, the sky always reminds me that we are truly in a matrix. Now, yesterday, a lot of people all of a sudden crashed into my website because they'd heard that I predicted in my Uranus video that came out on July 9th, on my July 11th Venus and Leo video. And there are many videos that have been going for a few months now where I keep saying Donald Trump in harm's way. If you're new to my channel and you haven't jumped aboard, I do world astrology, also known as mundane. And you might enjoy that kind of mind-boggling stuff, but also you may enjoy coming aboard my channel because I will also always talk about you and your sign and how to use astrology to time your best life and to move in navigational flow and be aligned with the divine will. That's the best I can offer here. So, you know, projectiles, right? Some missile thingy is going to shoot. What does this look like with Donald Trump in the mix, right? Let's just put Donald Trump's basic natal chart in and throw this chart outward. Now, the reason in so many of my videos that people were listening to before this time frame, the reason that people were talking about my videos is because I said the obvious. In a last in a lifetime conjunction of Mars with Uranus, which we haven't seen since 1941, and before that the 1600s, and before that the 1500s, Mars Uranus on Algol, Mars Uranus on Algol. Okay, we've had Mars Uranus together in Taurus, tropical Taurus, before January 20th, Biden's inauguration of 2021, including the insurrection of January of 2021. Then we had Taurus, Mars and Uranus together in a conjunction, August 1st, 2022. And in my webinar, I'll talk about how these things are all tied into historical events. And now this is the last in our lifetime occurrence of this conjunction. And we won't have it for 84 odd years more. And the reason I bring that up is it is the Algol star, the difficult demon star, the Medusa's head. It's a star of corpses, danger, beheading, off with your head, losing your head, literally. It's a malefic star. It's a difficult star. It can be a wealth star. In the United States Stock Exchange chart, Sun is conjunct a malefic Algol star with Mercury nearby. And they did that because as occultists and alchemists in the 1700s, the founding fathers of the United States, as well as a stock exchange, knew that the star could produce great wealth, but it's also a dangerous star. It's also an interesting star. It's actually two stars. It's binary. And there's Algol 1, 2, and 3. It's kind of fascinating because you'll learn about the three Gorgon sisters in my webinar. To me, the energy of this is to say something like, with Mars and Uranus on Algol up here, let me annotate. If Donald Trump was going to be assassinated, this was probably it. I mean, he's still in some harm's way later in August, but the guardian angel was on his ascendant. The asteroid angel was on his ascendant on the day of the shooting. And I'll show that in a separate chart. And you can't make this shit up, because when I said to my sister this morning, I bet you he had a guardian angel. As soon as I said that, I thought, oh my God, the asteroid angel, the ascendant is your body. It's your identity, was in protective mode, as well as Venus was also in the sign of Leo in the place of his ascendant. She's a benefic energy, or like a good energy, a positive, safe, protective energy for everyone. So again, I'm going to annotate what I wanted to talk about. This is Mars and Uranus, and that's Algol. This is the Donald Trump midheaven, which is, he's born with it on Algol, right? He can be wealthy and he can also lose his head, intensity. And you know, this conjunction on his midheaven, the midheaven is the gate to heaven. It's not just your career and reputation. A lot of times people pass with major events crossing the midheaven, the MC. The MC is recognized as the high noon of the chart, where the sun will reach its zenith point on the day of your birth. And ultimately, that's how we get out, like the Truman Show, knock, knock, knocking on heaven's door, and he goes up the stairs and he gets out of the illusion or the matrix. Often the setting place, the seventh house, can indicate a time of passing, but so can the midheaven. And often we don't recognize the midheaven as playing that role. So yes, his career and reputation is going to be dramatic, shocking. Something's going to happen in the high noon public part of his chart, but also in the door to heaven, so to speak. at the second point that I want to mention is that there he has this Mars ascendant on fixed star Regulus, born to rule, little king, fame, power, glory, riches, fall from power through pride and hubris star, right? Regulus, connected to Archangel Raphael, if memory serves me, in medieval astrology. Anyway, this particular placement, as you can see, is in what we call a square relationship. That is, it's 90 degrees apart, which is indeed a conflict, aggression, difficult energy connected to the planetary energies of Mars, the god of shooting, wars, and difficulty with aggression and anger. And interestingly, as I look at that, I've been thinking to myself for months, and that's why my videos say it, that this could be a passing time for Donald Trump, or I kept saying he's in harm's way. I said, like, from things like guns, because there's one video in which I used the word assassination. If anybody knows or can find that video, a few of you guys have asked me where you heard me say it. Please find it for me and let me know, because I said, oops, I shouldn't have used that word. I said, I'll get flagged by the 3-letter agencies talking about assassination and Donald Trump. But I have at least 4 different videos in which I've talked about it, including my current Venus in Leo that came out on Thursday, July 11th, and July 9th video that was put out on Tuesday, which is both of those address that. And beautiful commenters out there timestamp those points in the video for me. So I pinned their timestamps to the top of those videos if you want to go back for proof. All right. So that's the thing, guys. That's my hypothesis about what was going on for poor Donald Trump. I don't want anyone to die, and I don't actually do politics. I'm Canadian. I have never voted my life in my country or the U.S. I am also literally apolitical. I don't prefer the either polarity of an extreme Democrat, extreme Republican energies, or either candidate in particular. Okay, I'm glad he wasn't harmed. However, I don't want anybody to be harmed. Okay. Now, the other thing we're going to talk about in a minute, because we're going to talk about your sign, I promise. Your sign is just going to be me talking about, the way to use the archetype of breakthrough, change, and kind of freedom, okay? Freedom that comes with the Mars Uranus without the fear, freedom without the fear, okay? Archetypal energy, okay? Because I'm going to keep it simple. I'll talk about how it's the house that we're talking about. You can go into a much deeper dive for your sign in the other video that I put out on July the 9th. It's already pinned to the top of my channel. I'll link it in the description box as well. As anything you want to do with me, take a class with me this fall, my Sky Reader course, 6 weeks long. Be your own astrologer, time your best life live. Replays available, forever access to the teaching content on my platform, my education platform. Once you sign up for it, even if you can't keep up, you've got the content. I never sell it. It's always taught by me live. This is my 5th time. We're starting mid-September. Tuition and whatever, early bird discounts are available if you get on the wait list. So please look below for the sign up for Sky Reader. Thanks, guys. All right. Anything else I want to say? So this is the main thing about what was happening in the sky at the time. I mean, there are other indicators, secondary progressions for Donald Trump, solar arc, solar return, but I don't need to prove astrology works. If sometimes you just look at the very simple transit, it works. And the asteroids are always the devils in the details. What about the day of the shooting, right? When we have the ascendant here, the day of the shooting, this is what we see. Donald Trump's node of fate, the south node of fate, is with the moment of the shooting, with Icarus. Okay. And so there's just something about that says this is a profound soul agreement, a soul contract, because our south node represents our let go, let God, the reservoir of our spiritual awareness, our ability to detach from the matrix and to surrender into the divine mind, to recognize our spiritual truth. And often it represents things we've contracted to do that come from other times and places. So it's a part of a fated and destined story that he would stand up there and somebody would shoot at him. Okay, that's a part of his soul's contract. We're not wandering around in harm's way unless we said before we got here, I'll give that a try. It sounds like fun. And because at the day of the shooting, like ascendant, descendant, Jupiter, Icarus, we also see that the degree was squaring Saturn and Nessus. And Nessus is an asteroid for revenge and betrayal. The guy who shot him, Thomas Matthew Crooks, or the other way around, Matthew Thomas. It was a Republican registered, but he gave money to apparently, I just read this, to the Democratic Party in 2021. He may be somebody who felt betrayed by the policies of the Republican Party. He may have been seeking some kind of vengeance, revenge, archetypal energy. And this is Nessus, who, by the way, poisoned and killed Hercules, right? A hero. So we see that energy of someone trying to, archetypal energy, revenge, betrayal, vengeance. Taking down Apollo, Hercules, a heroic figure. A lot of people consider Trump a heroic figure to drain the swamp and exit the deep state out of reality. I'm not saying I believe that, but I'm saying some people do. Maybe it's true. And I'll say that, someone taking aim at, or causing harm to, can be embedded in what we see as a T-square on the day of the shooting. And did I say T-square? Yeah, there it is. Sorry, my T-square is fucked up. Excuse me. There we go. There it is. That's the T-square. All right. Now, the other thing I want to say, all stress, all angles, all conflict, all catalytic change. The other thing I want to say about this is energetically for Donald Trump, Sagittarius is not a bad place. It kind of is, if he's going to have someone aim at him, hey, it should be Sagittarius, right? It's his fifth house of good fortune, right? Good fortune. So it's very auspicious that this occurred in a house that is so positive, and it is ruled by the planet Jupiter. And at the time, Jupiter was on a powerful star named Aldebaran in the sign of Gemini. And for Donald Trump, Gemini is where he has his north node of fate and the planet Uranus. And why did the sun leave my screen? It seems like my chart is missing the sun. Let me fix it. That's what happens when you're trying to whip off a recording before you teach a class. The sun and the moon were missing in action. I apologize, guys. Talk about simplifying the sky for you, right? Am I back in? Let me see. Stop the share. It's me. Bring you guys back. Okay, sorry about that. I apologize. So you can see that Donald Trump's sun and north node are up here, right? And okay, and this is his, sometimes, and you can look at the moon as the body as well, where the shooter energy was. But I want to go back to the idea that the sun of Donald Trump, the soul, the solar light, the energy of the eternal being, his purpose, career, and reputation, of course, north node, fated things, had benefic Jupiter on top of it all. So there's kind of, again, we see Venus a benefic, protecting the body, mind complex, the ascendant. We see the sun also connected to Jupiter, which can be positive and beneficial for protection. So those are just a couple of thoughts. Let's look at the asteroids that are going to blow you out of the water, right? I hope anyway. And you can see Pluto, the god of death, right? Death, transformation, rebirth, literally opposite his whole sign, first house, right? He's coming into a Pluto opposition, which is intense, and he'll be feeling that more deeply about 4 years from now, 5 years from now. All right, let's get into the stop the share. Now we're going to look at another software, and I promise you we will do your sign. All I want to do is get you totally enraptured by the asteroids. Okay, like you're going to go, oh my God, I want to learn how to find Mount Asteroids in my chart. My amazing asteroid course is below. Please take it. What am I doing in my credit card file? I don't even know how that happened, and I don't even know how to get rid of that. It wasn't logged in. That's what matters. It's like it's not even showing me the astrology that I just had up. Okay, you cannot make this up. Please tell me it didn't just. Oh my God, I'm gonna be right back. I think I deleted the file. Give me a sec. I hit an ad, is what I did. I was about to kill myself. No, sorry. But I don't have time to redo the chart. Thank God I found it. It was just, I navigated away by clicking an ad, because I used to have the paid program on astro.com, but I no longer use it. So it just keep running ads in front of me. Okay, so this is astro.com. It's a free software, and I teach you how to cast your own chart and whole sign houses. It's all these freebies are in my description box below. Take that. But also my amazing asteroids free course teaches you how to not only cast your chart, but also find your asteroids using free online software. Check it out below. More than 5,000 people have downloaded and taken my free amazing asteroids course. So this happens to be the sky. And I know it's busy because I don't have the free software. I'm going to try to zoom in. I don't have the paid software because I want to show you Angel and all the other cool stuff before we whip through your sign, just to give you a brief kind of not to be anxious about this story. I'm going to go for view zoom, and I hope it works for that. Yeah, it's bigger. I think you guys are seeing it get bigger. I hope so. Zoom out, zoom in. I think if it looks bigger to me, it will look bigger to you. One more, maybe. Oh, only lets me zoom in twice. Okay. Let me do it again. Yeah. All right. So here's what we have. And sorry about the ads and stuff. So bottom line, look at this. This is the Asteroid Angel. I mean, maybe I can annotate on this one too. This is the Asteroid Angel. And this is the asteroid Medusa. Now, in Algol, it's a story of the Medusa's head being chopped off by the warrior hero Perseus. There's a lot of depth in my webinar. If you haven't managed to register, I guess I can post the link to the webinar under this video, but it will be later after this airs because I still have to process the webinar. But I'm not going to go back into Algol. Watch my Uranus Mars video as well that just came out for more about all the meanings of Medusa. But it's losing your head, and someone shot at his head, and he turned his head, and his head is okay. So decapitation, right, is the Medusa story. And even though Medusa is there on his ascendant, well, Algol is being activated on his midheaven by shock and awe Mars, cutting, severing, ending, shooting, terrorism, and shooters, and Uranus shock and sudden. Even though that's all happening up here, we see the blessings of Angel. So the Asteroid Angel, again, asteroid number 11911 is on his ascendant, and it's pretty close, right? His ascendant is 29, but it's coming into about, looks like 24 degrees of Leo, and his ascendant is 29 degrees. And so he has protection at the time of the shooting. And this asteroid, all the asteroids are a 4 to 5 year, like a 4 to 5.5, 6 year orbital path, because they're in a chunk of real estate called the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter, which is a decimated planet that the ancients called Tiamat, and it's rubble. It's space rubble from a planet that broke apart. And so there's 24,000 of them that are named at this point, common names, mythical names. It's fascinating, the devil in the detail, naming of celestial bodies. And the ancients knew about the asteroid belt. They said the devils and angels were in there, but they didn't name them all. So what we have here is we have the energy of protection. Second of all, I want to talk about the asteroid for the guy's name, Croc or Crooks, and also Thomas, because in astrology, when you use asteroids, if you can't find Crook, right? Crook, and it is, if you don't think this is a dream, Crooked Hillary, right? Crooked Hillary. People think that Trump's a crook, and a guy with a last name Crook or Crooks tries to shoot him. I wrote it down, but I can't remember if it's Crook or Crooks, but you get the idea, right? Like, if that doesn't make you want to go, wow, we're in a real cool simulation dream matrix here, nothing will. And so the gist of it is, I found two asteroids that are close enough. CROC and CROC. Croc. There's only two that sound like you could go CROC, Croc, right? The closest that you can get. In asteroid land, you do what we call sound-alike asteroids. And here we have the asteroid Croc for Crook or Crooks. So guys, I should have his name, but I don't have time to figure it out because I got to teach a class on Medusa. The asteroid Medusa itself, when Trump was born, not only does he have Algol in the midheaven, but he's got the asteroid Medusa up where his high noon is, where his reputation is, where his exit to heaven is. And he's got somebody named Croc with Medusa. So there's that guy who tried to shoot him. And the second asteroid that sounds like the name of the guy who shot him is also right on his midheaven, right on Algol, right on decapitation. You can't make this stuff up. If this doesn't impress you, nothing will. And then we move into the next part of the narrative. I wanted to say, I looked for the name Thomas. Thomas is in the house of death for Trump's natal chart. Okay, it is a house of death and rebirth. You could say you die in the 7th when the sun sets, you go to the underworld in the 8th, and you rise to heaven in the 9th. It's very 3 days and Jesus-like, right? But the underworld part of the story, the death part, is here. And the asteroid Thomas sits at 10 degrees of the sign of Pisces in his chart, not too far from Saturn retrograde and Nessus. What is Nessus in the real-time sky? Betrayal, vengeance. The guy who tried, the centaur who tried to kill the hero Hercules, and did indeed succeed after, by the way, raping Hercules' wife. Very, very interesting Greek stories. So we see that there's like archetypal significance to the placement of someone named Thomas, but I thought of another thing. Can you guys think what I'm going to say before I say it? If you anticipate what I'm about to say before I say it, put it in the comments and I'll give you a big heart. Doubting Thomas, doubting Thomas, doubting Thomas. See, the guy was a Republican, and then he gave the Democrats money in 2021, and then he shot. He tried to kill the head of the Republican, nomination. So doubting Thomas is what I came up with on that as well. He, for some reason, fell into such a deep doubt that he was angry enough to try to kill somebody. And, everyone knows conspiracy theories are out there. Was this guy hired? Was this guy a patsy? Was this all a deep state machination? Who arranged it? Did the sharpshooter purposely miss his ear? I don't think that the sharpshooter missed his ear. He was too far back, even with a trained sharpshooter and a rifle, the distance itself. And then Trump turns his head. You see, I think it was a real event. I don't think anybody would plot to almost shoot Donald Trump. I don't think it was a plaster pack of fake blood. I've heard some of these conspiracies. He looks like he's missing a bit of his ear, unless when they dumped him under, someone cut his ear. In the Secret Service, I'm pretty well sure. I think what we're seeing is what we're getting. Finally, when I see Thomas sitting here in his natal chart, I want to ask myself, where is Thomas in the real-time sky? Like, that's what you do with asteroids. You look at where they are in your natal chart, and then you ask you where they are in your real-time sky. So let's go back to Croc or Crook or Crooks. The asteroid Croc for Croc, the guy who shot him, is sitting on top of his natal midheaven. Exactly. Really. Seriously, with Mars, the shooter planet, and Uranus, the shock. So he's having what you call an asteroid return. It would become an asteroid return maybe a month ago, but we have him in the middle of an asteroid return in which an asteroid that he's born with on his midheaven that had no meaning in his life until we knew to search for it. That's the thing with those asteroids. You have to know what to look for. Is now with the shooter planet Mars on his midheaven, his high noon reputation. He's standing in front of people on a platform. He's at the high noon on the OK Corral. Is exactly what this is. So you see that? I know it's hard to see in the software, but trust me, the asteroid Croc is on top of his midheaven for Crook, the guy who shot him. Then what about Thomas? Where is the asteroid Thomas? Asteroid Thomas is traveling with the North Node in the sign of Aries, ruled by Mars. This is where all the eclipses have been happening. Now, it's an interesting placement because, of course, Thomas is with the node of fate for the world. This node of fate just happens to be moving through Donald Trump's, ninth house of God, Dharma, higher purpose, meaning of life, etc. But it also literally is a placement where someone named Thomas is going to do some fated destined thing connected to the eclipse cycle, such as the April the 8th eclipse, or backwashing from the October eclipse on October 2nd at 10 degrees of Libra. Doesn't matter which one. This is the destiny cycle of the world that some Thomas character who's doubting is going to do something that we take note of. And it's on Rahu, the North Node, which brings extreme energy and intensity to whatever it touches as well. If you really wanted to go into the weeds and the rabbit hole, you might also note different factors that are going on in the sky. Like this is the asteroid transiting up here. Let me just double check. I have to really peek into this. Matthew. I found the asteroid Matthew, which is one of the names of the shooter, and that's sitting here on the North Node of Donald Trump at the time of the shooting. There are so many layers you can use with astrology asteroids. It gets crazy. So Matthew, asteroid Matthew, is on Donald Trump's North Node and Sun. Asteroid Croc or Crook, born with, is on his midheaven. The guy's name is all over this chart. All right, if that doesn't dazzle you, nothing will. Venus, of course, was transiting, as I mentioned, through Donald Trump's first house, offering protection, offering safety, offering blessing, benefic goodness, perhaps. And there's another asteroid Matthew. That's where Matthew is traveling, but he's born with asteroid Matthew, conjunct Pholos. That's kind of like the snowball effect asteroid. Now, one thing with Pholos is one small thing dominoes like a snowball into something else. In his life, someone named Matthew at 23 degrees of Capricorn in his sixth house of karmic debt relationships will trigger a Pholos response in his chart, a snowball going downhill, a domino effect. And while we may not yet know what the domino effect will be from the attempted assassination, you can bet your bottom dollar that this will be something to do with the destiny of politics in America. It could be the turning point for Trump in a positive way, where people now who were lazy voters in the Republican Party will come out in droves or something. We shall see what it looks like. Thanks for listening. If you want to take classes with me, I teach a lot of classes, and I'm doing what I call my Amazing Asteroids Master Class. And I was going to teach that on the 20th, but I'm going to push it a bit forward to add this Donald Trump information into the class. So that will be coming up at the end of the month. But you want to take the Amazing Asteroids free class before you come to the master class, which will be the last weekend of the month of July. I'll have to reschedule that today because I need to add this incredibly new material to it. Okay, so we are now on 30 minutes before I teach a class. What I'm going to do, if you want a deep dive into how the Mars Uranus conjunction synodic cycle, it's not just about what happens in your life this weekend, when it's happening through to like Wednesday, but rather how this conjunction resets your life for a couple of years, which is missing in modern astrology on YouTube. I don't get why. It's all about cyclical reset buttons. Then you want to take the Mars Uranus asteroid. Take the class because you're going to miss it because you won't know it's on because it's happening. You'll be seeing this video after I teach it. But go check out my Mars Uranus video pinned to my channel. It's also available. Just look at my channel. I'll pin it down here because that is going to give you what you need to know how to use this last in a lifetime conjunction for your benefit. Now, we're going to move into the all signs delineation. Let's get rolling. All right. I cannot believe this is such a mess. Okay. Give me a minute. Pause the screen. Now, I am teaching a class in less than half an hour. So what I'm giving you today is just the skinny down, the low down, the simple part of it. This Mars-Uranus conjunction happens in one of 12 whole sign houses in your chart. You had this conjunction here in January 20th of 2021, then again, August the 1st of 22. And now this is your last one forever. And it rolls out in over a couple of years of influence till the next conjunction between Mars and Uranus. But I will tell you this, in my experience, you will see what it's for well within the first 6 months. That has been my experience with this. I explained how that works in my other video on this. So don't think you have to wait 2 years to know what it means. You'll not know everything this week. It's not all about what happens. Sure, acute events that are Mars Uranus, shock of insight, freedom loving, rebellion, injury, accident, bad things can happen too. You got to be careful. This is not the one to take bungee jumping classes or something for the first time for some of you, especially for you Taurus folks. Okay. This is also about acute events, sudden events that happen in the short term, but it's also in your life a longer cycle. Let's give ourselves a 10-minute whip through the signs so you can look and see. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit my notification bell in the more box under the video, everything about my channel, everything about me, my website, getting a reading with me, all of that. You have to get on a waiting list for that. I'm going to release spots in the fall, but everything is in the description box. There is a priority pass for Mondays if you want to jump the line and get a reading. I have 2 spots every Monday, but I'm already booking into September. But there's a lot of data about me under my description box. All right. So my newsletter, all of that stuff. Let's roll and let me get into the story of each sign in a quick and dirty, reminding you to go back and watch the Mars Uranus video that came out on July the 9th, because that will give you more depth. All right. So come on, guys. You guys are, and I left all the little angels and stuff in here. Just ignore that. I'm one of you. I got a sun and moon here. Listen for your sun if it's career and purpose, moon if it's body, home, safety, nest. Sun is father figure, moon is mother figure, and your ascendant is everything about you in the matrix of life. It's your avatar. Okay, so Aries, sun, moon, and rising. Bottom line, it's about your money. It's about your food and what you stick in your mouth. Radical, shocking, sudden, decisive, breakthrough change in how you make money, how you save money, what your resources financially are, what your wealth is, what your values are, what your self-worth is about, how you speak and what you speak about, as well as your financial situation. Now, I like this a lot because Algol is a wealth star. So I will predict that a lot of Aries will be able to wealth up financially over the next couple of years. And you might see evidence of how and why over the next 2 or 3 months. Also, if you want to quit an addiction, self-undoing, I'm now past the wine lover's middle way. I'm into like the alcohol-free lifestyle. You may cut out something like an addiction, a substance you ingest, smoke, thing that goes to your mouth, right? End of story. Breakthrough, break free energy. And that's as simple as we're going to go on this, because this is your basic basic meaning of the second house. You could be one doing shocking speech, right? That's like the house of speech, but also a radical freedom and change in the way you speak and what you're going to speak about. For me, with a platform like YouTube, I'm going to start bringing in a little bit more of what I consider my spiritual side and not just my predictive content into the videos. I'm really feeling like the world's fear energy is, it's just beyond the beyond, right? We got to pull it back a bit. People are often just terrified of life as if it really matters. Taurus, sun, moon, and rising. Obviously, it's all about you. And I told you guys, no bungee jumping, no skydiving, no radical, real dangerous activities, including driving recklessly. If you're a Taurus and you're listening to this, of the next 4 days, acute injury and accidents may occur if you're not careful. On the other hand, you are blasting free, of something. Like you are breaking out of an old mold. You are like removing the stagnant straitjacket that's held you back in the fixity of you. This is literally like the best version of you that you can have in your lifetime. Once in a lifetime, off with your head. Not a bad thing, because what you're doing is you're releasing an old identity, the mind, the head, the avatar of you in the game simulation. You're like checking in with the game developers and going, now when I ordered this like avatar, not quite it doesn't fit. It's too tight. I'm constrained. It sucks in here. And you're going to bust out over the next 2 years. And you're going to create a very brand new, radically different version of yourself. If you're a Taurus sun, this can be about also your career and purpose is breaking through. And if it's your moon, things to do with your body and your mind and your ideas of yourself and your home. And if it's your rising sign, the entire avatar is blowing up. You are finding a new you. You are looking for inventing yourself, reinventing yourself, freedom, change in your identity. So get ready for that. It's exciting and you'll see evidence of that. But again, especially head injuries, be careful with your head, Algol, over the next few days. All right. That's what I'm going to say. Just do not do anything that involves danger. Gemini, sun, moon, and rising sign. Woohoo. It's all about your spirituality. Are you ready to awaken, find God? Are you going to lift up to the nirvana, samadhi? Are you going to go into some kind of new level of spiritual awareness? That is the full Monty moksha liberation house to Buddhahood. So a lot of you, once in a lifetime, first in a lifetime, last in a lifetime, this is beheading, decapitation in non-duality circles is a positive thing. In enlightenment circles, this is where you lose the mind that thinks you're a separate self. So you've got a lot going on for that. However, radical changes regarding the way you make money from foreign places, foreign entities, and borderless international revenue, massive changes the way you do things alone in privacy, a home, massive changes regarding the concepts of foreign shores and foreign lands, including travel or even living in one of those places, another country, over the next couple of years. Evidence for this, one way or the other, will show up for you in the next few months. Cancer, sun, moon, and rising sign. Well, this is about other people often. It's your elder sibling, friends as allies and benefactors, colleagues and coworkers, larger social groups, clubs that you belong to, people in those places as well. And when I say older sibling, one older than you. And this is kind of like kapush, big kinetic energy here. What are they going through? However, you may radically disassociate and disconnect from a group or a club or a belonging place that no longer fits you because it's a straitjacket and you want your freedom. You may even kibosh a relationship with a friend that you no longer desire to be in one, or they end it with you, but it's good. Why is it good? It's good because it sextiles your identity as a Cancerian sun, moon, or rising, and it offers Venusian blessings. Don't be afraid of it. Finally, pennies from heaven and great gains from your career, sudden, shocking, exciting over the next couple of years. Evidence should be in sooner than later, in the near term, in the next couple of months, that you're going to have some serious breakthrough energy in your salary, your gains from your career, your reputation in your career. This is a second house from the 10th. It is literally the money from your career itself, as well as sometimes windfalls like fairy godfather, pennies from heaven, where all of a sudden money is raining down on you and you're like, thank you, fairy godfather. That can happen in a shocking, exciting, surprising way. Mars is the ruler of your house of money, good fortune from lottery, speculation, and gaming. Know your limit, play within it, but it can also look like winning money. I know I'm talking fast. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. I have to teach a webinar and I want to get this video out Sunday in a timely manner. Leo, sun, moon, and rising sign, breakthroughs in your career, massive dramatic shifts in your career, waking up to a new purpose or a new path in your career, radical shifts in the career space and reputation space over the next 2 years. Bosses fired, you move up, you leave, you quit, you find something new, you start something fresh, you have breakthrough insights and radical reinventions in your career. And that story is true for 2 years in a way you've never had before. Don't forget, we have Algol, sort of like really off with your head, intensity, maybe new radical wealth coming from your career as well. Please listen to my longer video for a more in-depth dive, but don't expect your career to be steady as she goes. And listen for my other video to find other times this has happened. It's the Algol intensity that I'm particularly focused on here for you. Holy moly, moly, moly. This is something to once in a lifetime, last in a lifetime, consider to be a radical career shift for you, reinvention, freedom, and excitement. Virgo, sun, moon, and rising sign, you are going to experience this energy of radical shift regarding your spiritual philosophy, your relationship to the divine, God, higher mind, your own dharma, your purpose in life, higher education, third marriages. This is the area of excitement. If you have a sibling too older than you, they belong to the ninth house, changes in that relationship. You're breaking free. You're breaking out of a straitjacket that's held you back. You don't mind breaking free. It flows to you in an earth trine. You are ready for freedom and reinvention, but you need to pray for it. You need to ask God for help, Goddess for help. You're really moving into more of a connection to the wisdom and knowledge of the spiritual part, the metacosmos part of your life. You may join groups of spiritual community, or you may become a part of something to do with a spiritual ideology or faith, not just in the next few days, over the course of the next few months into 2 years. Watch my longer video, please, to get more in-depth that came out, and it's on my channel. Libra, sun, moon, and rising, bottom line, massive changes in your chunky money. What money do you get through inheritance? Resources you share with the bank, mortgage companies, loans, credit cards, money shared from investments, money shared because you share it with the company, right? Shares in a company, sharing. Money you share with your significant spouse or other. Now, some people don't want to get an inheritance, but off with their head, radical, sudden, unexpected developments in which somebody may bequeath you money over the next couple of months, over the next couple of years. This is not just a this week story. It certainly does have a rags to riches energy for sure, with Uranus there, a sudden jolt of money showing up for you as a Libra. And energetically, there's a depth here in this house. It's one of the moksha houses for spiritual liberation and awakening. It can help you forge a whole new identity, ditch your old sense of egoic self, and find something more deep about you. It has a butterfly, caterpillar, snake shed its skin archetype, and you may really bust free. On the downside, of course, you could excavate family secrets that you never knew about over the next 2 years, or any kind of things that were hidden from your view that may shock and surprise you, but ultimately you will be benefiting from them. Scorpio, sun, moon, and rising sign. Can this girl go any faster? She's an auctioneer. You have a breakthrough in your relationships. Your partner may be looking for freedom and love and breakthrough. Like that. It's your business partner, your audience marketplace and clients, and it is your significant long-term love story with the one you're with, monogamous, long-term committed love. So they're having a breakthrough. I don't even think it's about you, but if it is about you, break free, break through, reinvent energy is happening in your marriage house. That relationship can go through a whole new iteration of expression in the next 2 years, but look for evidence for that in the next 2 months. Look at my longer video published July 9th for a much deeper dive. And Sagittarius, sun, moon, and rising, you archers are having this breaking free, breaking through straitjacket stagnation breakup in your 6th house. And your 6th house is the house that is about your karmic debt, your real life debt. I owe money. People owe me money, rentals, pets, and work and job and health matters. A lot goes on in the gates of Hades 6th house. It is a house that's difficult, but Mars is in his joy here. And so there's going to be powerful positive change regarding work, regarding health, pets, and rental situations, including your rental home in the next couple of years. You may see evidence for that as the next couple 3, 4, 5 months unfold after this conjunction. This is also to say, because it's a sickness house, be careful. Sickness house, be careful for injuries to your neck. Taurus is the neck and the shoulders. Be careful for that. This is not a time to take chances with your neck. Do not do anything like go to a chiropractor you've never tried for the first time, please, during this next 4 days of this conjunction. Just be careful. All right, Capricorn, Sun, Moon, and Rising, the break free, breakthrough, reinvention, stagnation, breakup, sexuality, romance, relationships to your children, pregnancy, fertility, creative and artistic projects, and entrepreneurial endeavors. Kaboom! You're going to break free, break through, and break up stagnation and fixity here. And if you are an artist, this is a great kind of like aha moment where you could, over the next couple of years or the next few months, have a download. Do you want to win money in gaming, speculation, and lotteries? This is the winning money house, and never going to say never say no. Could be you. Know your limit, play within it, but it is a house of good fortune and can involve some money luck. Listen to the longer video published on July 9th for a much deeper dive into this for you. Aquarius rising, I am one of you. The energy is the Mars Uranus conjunction happening in the 4th house. This is home, nest, and real estate property, where you live, your private life and domicile, sometimes legacy wealth. I'd say you're going to have a change of home. Yet again, some of us have had many from these conjunctions. Listen to my long webinar, of course, from July 9th. I mean, not webinar, long YouTube video that'll really help you break it down. But you can expect an unexpected change regarding where you live, not just in the days that follow. It could happen like that, but certainly you'll have evidence of a home change probably within the first 3 months of this conjunction. Be careful for injuries at home. This is not good for you, like climbing a ladder by yourself, in your apartment or outside your house. I mean, be careful for neck injuries, shoulders, but home. You want to be careful about tripping in your garden or falling off a ladder or something. Be careful for injuries in the home. Of course, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of this week, like that's your warning. I'm not going to repeat it. Or in other words, the 15th, 2 or 3 days before and after. And listen to the longer webinar, please. Pisces, of course, big change in your 3rd house, travel, siblings, neighbors, neighborhood, online social media, skills-based learning. Often when I see this down here, I'm like, it is flowing to you. I'm not worried about it. A sudden freedom and escape and breakthrough change when it comes to a writing project as well, a communications project, your social media presence, your website, your communications. Look for shocking, surprising emails, text messages, and phone calls, please, because this is that kind of house in the next few days, right? I'm recording this on Sunday through to Wednesday. But in the long run, you might have dramatic changes regarding siblings, particularly younger, as well as aunts, uncles, cousins, and nieces and nephews. And these people belong to your kinship 3rd house. They're the hood, right? The people around you. The way you live your daily life can change pretty excitingly and dramatically. This is one of those placements to watch for moving vehicles, Mars in the 3rd house. So be careful about, who's piloting the car or whatever. Just be cautious, this early this week that you're, injury free by not getting into the car with a driver who's not qualified or a reckless driver. But, just be cautious with that for sure. Otherwise, it's the 3rd house sextiling you. It brings good things, big changes, might be changes with your sibling, one of your siblings or siblings in general that benefit you. And you'll see evidence of that in the next 3 months. All right. I can't believe I got that done. I got to sign off, got to download this. Thanks for subscribing, liking, and hit that notification bell if you don't mind. And I know I talked fast. I hope you guys don't mind. I'm still recording. They changed this. They updated the software. I can't figure out how to get out of here. Stop the recording.